You can be lifting consistently, maybe 3, 4, 5 times, even 6 times a week, and still not see the results you want. And it's not because you're not working hard enough. It's not because you need to be more consistent. You need to do more. It's because the plan you're following was never designed with your specific goal and situation in mind. And I want to be crystal clear. This is not for the person who just wants to lose a little bit of weight. You just want to move more, sweat more, move consistently. This is not for you. For that, honestly, you can go to the gym and close your eyes in any mini money mo machines and have a few behavior changes in terms of eating more veggies and eating a little cleaner, and it'll get the job done. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the person with specific fitness goals. Goals like maybe you want to get to a certain body fat percentage. Maybe you want to build a specific physique. Maybe you want to squat 2 times your body weight. Maybe you want to do 5 consecutive pull ups or 30 consecutive push ups. Maybe you want to build muscle in certain areas while maintaining others. That's another big goal. People say, oh, I want to build my glutes without getting my quads so much bigger. When those are your specific goals, you need a specific plan. The more specific your goal is, the more specific your plan has to be. And you can only get specific when you have clarity, and then you can have structure. And that structure is necessary to hit any specific goal. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how to build your plan so that the work you're already putting in, the time you're already spending in the gym actually translates into the results you're intending to see, because the hours you're already spending in the gym should be producing results. You shouldn't be there just killing time if that's not what you want to do. If you have a specific goal and you want to hit it, let's maximize the time you're spending in the gym and make it happen. So, I'm going to show you the exact framework that I teach my clients and I use to design their plans. So, grab a pen, get ready to take some notes. The framework is called SET, SET. So write that on your paper and comment SET in the chat so that I know you're locked in. This is literally the framework you need to build a structured plan that works for you, whatever your goal is. So the first piece is the S. The S stands for specific goal. So I want you to actually drop your specific goal in the chat. Don't be vague. What is the exact goal or outcome you're looking to hit? A lot of people say they want to lose weight or they want to tone up, but that's not really a goal. Like, how much weight do you want to lose? Do you want to lose 20 pounds? Okay, you want to lose 20 pounds, how fast? Because if you want to lose 20 pounds in 4 months or 5 months, that's going to look different than somebody who wants to lose 20 pounds in a year span. Your approach is going to look different based on your specific goal. If your goal is to hit 225 on a squat for 5 reps, you need to have a plan to get there. You can't just go to the gym and never log any reps, sets, weights, reps in reserve, RPE, and expect to magically hit 225 one day. It doesn't work like that. If your goal is to run a 5K, when are you looking to run a 5K? Are you looking to run a 5K on Thanksgiving Day, or are you looking to run a 5K next year? That's going to determine the type of program you do, how much running volume you use, how often you have to run, what your lifting looks like. You have to get very specific on your goal, because at the end of the day, vibes don't get results. You can't just be moving through life aimlessly. If you have a goal, if you're aiming for something, you can't move aimlessly. So you need to be specific. So when you define exactly what you're chasing, what you're trying to do, then your plan can have a little bit more direction. It's literally the difference between driving with the GPS and just driving mindlessly, just going out for a drive and you're not really paying attention to where you're going. So it'll be like, say you live in New York City and you're like, hey, I want to take a road trip to Florida. But instead of putting a GPS on, you get in your car and you start driving for hours. Sure, you're moving, you're driving consistently, but you have no idea where you're going. You don't know if you're going in the right direction. You don't know if you're going south, north, east, west. You have no idea. And that's what a lot of people are doing. And they're wondering why they aren't seeing results. They're not seeing the progress they expect to see. But at the same time, they don't really have any plan to get there. You can't move like that. So the S was specific goal. Now we're moving on to the E. You have to consider your equipment available. Every great program is built around the same foundational movement patterns. There's 6 movement patterns that all exercises are derived from. You name an exercise, it falls into this category, one of these categories. So you have squats, squat patterns. So think barbell squat, goblet squat, leg press. Then we have split stance or single leg movements. So split squats, lunges, step ups, anything that is a one-legged exercise falls into this category. Then you have your hinges. We're talking RDLs, hip thrusts, deadlifts. Then you have pushing exercises, push-ups, bench press, shoulder press, anything where you are pushing the weight away from your body. That's a push exercise. Doesn't matter if it's horizontal or vertical. Those are push exercises. Then you have pull exercises. So anything where you're pulling your body towards something, a chin up, a pull up, or the opposite when you're pulling something towards your body. So think lat pull down. So you're doing a row, you're pulling the weight towards you. Those are pull variations. And then you have core exercises and carrying exercises. This is a really big group of exercises. So we're thinking anything you have to brace your core. So a plank, whether it's a front plank, side plank, something where you're carrying something. So farmer carries, suitcase carries, anything like that you have to engage your core, those fall into that category. Those are the 6 movements. If you take any goal, I don't care if it's to build muscle, if it's to get stronger, if it's to run a marathon, if it's to body build, do a high rocks, all programs are built on these movement patterns. Now, the way you program it is going to be a little bit different. If you're going to run a marathon, you still need to strength train, but you're not going to be doing as heavy of weight as somebody who's doing powerlifting, but you're still doing these movements, right? So the variations that you use are going to depend on your equipment. So let me know in the comments who here trains at the gym and who here trains at home. Because if you train at home, you know, unless you have a decked out home gym, which I would love to see, you know that you may be a little bit more limited on the exercises you can do just based on equipment availability, what you have in your home. And then if you go to the gym, you have a lot more options. Like I have a home gym and I have a track bar, squat rack, a bench, some free weights, plates, but I don't have a leg press or hack squat. So when I train at home, my home training days are utilizing the equipment that I have available. But when I go to the gym, I take advantage of the equipment there, like different row variations, leg press, hack squat, pendulum squat, those types of things. So you have to consider the equipment you have available because that's going to dictate your program. So if you only have a barbell, a squat rack, a bench, and free weights, your squat patterns are going to be primarily things like barbell front squats, back squats, maybe goblet squats if you have dumbbells, Zercher squats you can do. There's so many. I'm little for the machines too. There's so many different squat variations that you can do, but it's going to be dependent on what you have available. If you train in the gym, you have more versatility. Maybe you're going to use the pendulum squat, but the difference in what you have available really matters because if you are taking a program from offline, it may not consider or it's not going to consider what you have available. And that's the problem with some of these generic exercises or even like ChatGPT or YouTube. You see that somebody is using a pendulum squat or a barbell back squat and you don't have that, then if you don't know how to adjust, the program is useless, right? So you have to really take into account the equipment you have available and the setup because that's going to determine what you can do. And another thing that I do with my clients that ties into the equipment is I do a 7-point readiness scan. And this literally shows me where you are in terms of your strength levels, your weaknesses, your mobility. If you are doing a barbell squat and you can't get the depth you need because you're looking to eventually compete in a powerlifting competition, maybe barbell back squats in isolation aren't the best for you. Maybe you need to train a box squat to get that depth and then transition from a box squat to a barbell squat, right? But if we never look at that, we don't know. If you're training at home and you have a barbell and you see online that somebody's doing barbell split squats and you want to do barbell split squats, you may not be ready for barbell split squats. You may need to take a step back and really master regular split squats with the dumbbell. And this happens a lot when people are trying to do Bulgarian split squats when they don't even have enough balance to do a regular split squat. It's like you're trying to follow things online, but you don't know if you're ready for that. So I do the 7-point readiness scan just so that I know what you're ready for, and then we can tailor your program based on what you're ready for and what equipment you have available to you. So the key takeaway there is obviously having the equipment, but also understanding that a program could look great on paper or look great on Instagram, but if you, number one, can't perform the exercises safely, or if you don't have that equipment and you don't have the knowledge to modify it in a way that aligns with your goals, it does not matter. This is why specificity is important. So we have S, specific goal. You have E, equipment available. And then the last one, T, is time commitment. So you need to be realistic about your time. This is where a lot of lifters get tripped up because they see all these extensive workouts online that may take an hour and a half. People are lifting for an hour and 15 minutes and then do a 30-minute incline walk. So now they feel like because they saw that being done online, they have to do that, when that's not true at all. So it's a common misconception that you need to train longer or do more, but that's really just your conditioning. That's what you're learning from online. You think because other people do that, you need to do that. But in reality, you don't. So that's why when I'm programming for anybody, I ask 2 questions. How many days per week can you realistically work out? And how long can you dedicate for each session? And there's no wrong answer. How long you can dedicate for each session. And when I'm asking this question, I'm talking about on your busiest week. So you have a week full of family responsibilities, work, conferences, whatever your busiest week looks like. How long can you work out and how many days per week? And then that answer is the number that we program around. If you can't do 6 days, that's totally fine, right? If you can do 3 or 4, that's great. I don't care if you can only make it to the gym 5 days a week for 1 week out of 8 weeks. Like, that means nothing to me. If you can't do that on a consistent basis, that's not what your program is going to look like. What can you do consistently? Too often people are seeing 5-day programs, 6-day programs online, even 4-day programs, and you can't commit to that. So we want to know what you can actually commit to in the long run, because when you start doing more frequency in terms of days per week in the gym, and you can only get there, say you're doing a 5-day program and you can only get there 3 days or 2 days on most weeks, you're ending up doing half of the program and you're getting half of the results, because programs are written in a way that requires it to be done the way it's written. I'll get to that at the end. So the way a program is written is the way it's intended to be run. You don't do a 5-day program and you spread it across 12 days. You're only getting 5 out of 12 days. That's not the way that program is. That defeats the whole purpose. So when you lock in this set framework, specific goal, equipment available, and time commitment, you can make sure that the time you're spending in the gym actually moves you towards your goals. So to make things easier for you, I created a workout creator guide, and it walks you through all of this step by step. It gives you templates on different ways to program based on how many days you have available to train and what your goal is. So if you want that, just comment guide and I'll send it to you. It literally streamlines this whole process for you, so you don't have to look elsewhere for programs that you have to eventually modify for yourself anyway. So comment guide if you want that, and I'll send it over to you. So we have a couple questions in the comments. Rebecca asked, what are your thoughts on programming for muscle strength versus muscle endurance? It's so tempting to chase the high weights. Muscle strength versus muscle endurance, they kind of go hand in hand to a certain point, right? You have that like strength curve where, like, on the lower end, say we're talking 0, 1, 2, 3 reps, and then you have anywhere from 12 or more reps. The 12 or more reps, you're getting more into muscular endurance. On the lower end of the spectrum, you're more so in muscle strength, right? So depending on what somebody's goal is, their program may be more on this side. So think of a power lifter. Power lifters aren't really chasing muscle endurance, they're more so chasing maximal muscle strength. So their program is going to be primarily muscle strength. So lower reps, higher weight, right? But that does not mean that they aren't training their accessories and their isolation exercises in that muscle endurance phase. So a good program is going to have both. Now the ratio and the distribution in terms of the amount of muscle endurance versus muscle strength is going to be a little different. For the person who doesn't really want to compete in powerlifting or doesn't want to compete in bodybuilding should be training in the middle. Like you should have some exercises that are training the higher rep range with lighter weight, and then some bugging here. And then some exercises where you're training lower rep ranges. So think of like your barbell squats, your deadlifts, maybe even hip thrusts. You can do lower reps with that and higher weight. And then for some of your isolation stuff, you can do 8 to 15 reps. Like right now, I train both. So I think it really just depends on what your ultimate goal is. If you don't have a desire to compete in anything competitively, you should be training both. And compounds are typically going to be in that like 3 to 12 rep range, depending on what the movement is. And then for your isolation stuff, like your bicep curls, tricep extensions, lateral raises, those can be higher reps because you're going to be using lighter weight on those things by default, just because it's only one muscle you're working. So you're going to use lighter weight, and then you're going to take longer to get to fatigue because it's going to take you more reps. So the way I think of it is, if somebody doesn't have a specific goal, we're training compounds in the lower rep range, and then we are training isolation exercises in the higher rep range. And the way you really program that is using reps in reserve. Like if you go about your program using reps in reserve and assessing how many reps you have left in the tank after each set, you're going to fall into like the middle mark anyways. So for example, if you program split squats for 8 to 12 reps and you want to have at least no more than 3 reps in reserve, then you're going to choose a weight that allows you to hit that rep range, and you're going to notice that you fatigue out within 8 to 12 reps anyways. Like you fall somewhere in there. You're not going to be doing 20 reps of a split squat. I mean, you can, but it doesn't really make sense to, because if you're doing 20 reps of a split squat, then you need to up the weight. So I think it really it depends on your goal, but that's how I go about it. If you give me more specifics, I can give you a better answer. But compounds, lower reps, higher weight, isolation exercises, higher reps, lower weight. I think I said that right. Yeah. If you guys have any other questions, drop them in the comments. I'll address them. And if you want the workout creator guide, just comment guide and I'll send it over to you. It's completely free. There's no charge for it. Just let me know if you want it. With that being said, if there's no other questions, then I'm going to hop off. I hope you guys are having a good Sunday, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.